DCTV, where I am your host, Drew Collins, bringing you all sports-related news here in the greater Cincinnati area. If you are new around here, make sure you hit that like button to show that support. And if you want to join the DCTV family, we're at 1,550 people of WHODEY Nation and growing every single day. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button. If you're on Facebook, hit that follow button, and let's get into it today. I'm very excited. Some big news. McKinley just recently got waived by the Atlanta Falcons. He had some beef, some stew stirring up in the Atlanta Falcons front office. He was having a lot of problems and demanded a trade. He said that they ended up getting a second-round pick offered for him, and they still wouldn't give him up. If that's true or not, that's what he said on Twitter. And so they ended up waiving him. And within a few hours, the Cincinnati Bengals claim him and pick him up. And I'm going to go ahead and assume he's going to come in right away and probably play a pretty decent role for this Bengals pass rush. So a huge move here for the Cincinnati Bengals. WHODEY, I am super excited. I'm not going to stream too long on this because I got another stream at 7 o'clock where I'm going to be doing my Bengals prediction and preview video. Boy, is that going to be a fun one. So I'm just gonna go over his history, his stats, and going into what the title is. What can he bring to the Cincinnati Bengals in 2020 and possibly the future? So let me get started on my socials, and we will get going, guys. We will get going. Give me 1 second. If you guys haven't already, please hit that like button and join the DCTV family. And then, if you're on Facebook, follow as well. Thank you guys for all tuning in. I appreciate you, WHODEY Nation. We got big news. We got big news, WHODEY Nation, and it's very exciting. Big news. So what are we saying? Diehard Bengals fan, what's up? Moreland, nice pickup. I agree. WHODEY, Drake, Ant Hill, McKinley. Maybe that what Zach was talking about when he said anytime we can improve the team with a player. Possibly, definitely. And my biggest thing is you look, we gave up Carlos Dunlap, who hasn't produced in 2 years. He wasn't doing much. He was in a limited role, and with his limited role, he wasn't producing, and he wasn't happy in the locker room. So you let him go. You get a 6th-round pick and a backup lineman. Yeah, okay, it's better than letting him walk, because at one point I definitely thought we would have to let him walk. And then a few weeks later, we signed a former first-round draft pick. I need Bengals fans that don't know who McKinley is to know this guy was, in 2017, the first-round pick number 26 in the NFL draft. And he didn't get released because of his talent. This is like Quentin Spain. Quentin Spain didn't get released with his talent. It had to do with the money situation, and he had beef with the front office. Same thing. He demanded a trade from Atlanta Falcons. He went on social media after they didn't do it, continuously just talk trash about, kind of like a Carlos Dunlap situation, a little different, but he was actually producing. Now, this year, he's been injured. I believe he only has a few tackles and a sack, but within his first 2 years of his career, we're not going to include this year because he's been injured. He's had 16.5 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, a fumble recovery, and 76 tackles in his first 2 seasons. I will take it all day, every day. So, say what you want. That is a huge, for nothing. For nothing. We'll give him a 1-year deal. Either we'll pick up his cheap rookie deal that he's on right now, or we'll sign him to a 1-year deal, whatever happens. But what's going to happen, it's most likely going to be a 1-year prove-it deal unless they pick up his rookie contract and he has more years. Correct me if I'm wrong. But even if it's a 1-year deal, he's going to be able to produce, and he's playing for a contract. So he's going to play to his best ability to either continue a career in Cincinnati or move on to another team. But boy, he has so much upside to bring to Cincinnati. Something where Carlos Dunlap, yeah, I think he's second sack leader of all time in the Bengals. But at that point in his career, man, he wasn't what he used to be, once upon a time. And McKinley is a guy who is, I believe, 25 years old, just was a first rounder a few years ago, and he's happy, hungry for some reps because he's probably going to play for a contract. So it is super exciting news. And you got to think, a few years ago when Bengals fans were confused, we're just letting Carlos Dunlap go for a 6th round. Okay, now we're getting draft capital and we're getting first-round picks just after a few weeks we let Carlos Dunlap go. So now you're starting to see the process, and hopefully you Bengals fans that haven't bought into the process yet of Zach Taylor and this seize the day and this new day, Bengals locker room. Hopefully, you're going to start to buy into it because this is very, very huge, especially for a Bengals franchise where they just aren't aggressive. If you're a Bengals fan and you've been on for a long time, you just know the Bengals franchise is conservative. They're not aggressive, and they usually don't go make big moves. Well, I mean, for a Bengals fan, this is pretty big. Now, if you're another team, this might not be, too big of news. But if you're getting a former first-round pick just a few years ago, over 17 sacks already in his young career, I mean, this is going to add so much talent to our offensive end rush. We have Carl Lawson, who's been a monster all year. We're going to re-sign him in the free agent or in the offseason. You have Sam Hubbard, who's been dealing with some injuries. He's coming back this week against the Pittsburgh Steelers. And now you're going to add this guy in there, another young talent. And the crazy thing is, I talk about Carlos Dunlap, about how he was one of the only veterans on this team. Majority of the Cincinnati Bengals team, probably 90%, is 29 years or younger. And this guy just adds some more young talent. So we continue to add young and fresh legs to the locker room. A great move for the Cincinnati Bengals. What are your guys' thoughts? Put them in the comment section below. If you're on Facebook, YouTube, whatever you're on, let me know your thoughts because this was a big move. WHODEY Night Wolf. Tic-tac-toe. Yes, sir. WHODEY Stewart. Drake Berry said this dude will be huge for us. Don't know much about him, but I know he's real good. It hurts being a Saints-Bengals fan, the guys from the Falcons, but I think I can get over the next pain real quick once he gets 8 sacks next year. If the Falcons really offered a second for him, it should have been a no-brainer. Yeah, I know they were getting mid-round picks for him, and they were like, no, we're not going to do it. So I don't know what happened. I don't know if he's lying, if he's making that up, but, I mean, he's a former first-round pick, so they were getting something for him. 16 sacks in his first 2 seasons. That's pretty impressive, so we'll see. I heard they paid $875,000. If he walks, he'll get a composition kick. Okay. We'll get our first rounders this season. Joe Burrow, Jonah Williams, T. Higgins, basically. Talk McKinley. Yep. We have a big chance for an upset. Yes, yes, yes. All right. So let's get into it. I'm going to tell you some of his background information because just like me, I don't know too much about him. So we're about to learn. What's up, Jeff Clark on Facebook? If you're enjoying yourself, hit that like button. William on Facebook said, I love it. He's a monster. We upgraded Carlos Dunlap. Yeah, I mean, the difference between him and Carlos Dunlap was a fantastic player in his prime for the Bengals. The second sack leader of all time for the Cincinnati Bengals of all time. But this guy has way more upside, an aging Carlos Dunlap on a big contract on a not very happy locker room. And you switch that to a very cheap contract, young legs, 25 years old, and a lot of upside to prove to play for a contract. That's exactly what you want to flip into this locker room. And we're getting younger, and it's a great pickup. So, getting into him, he's a defensive end, a pass rusher. He was born November 2nd, 1995, so he just turned 25. He's from Oakland, California. 6'2", so he's not the biggest, but he's not the smallest. 6'2", 250 pounds. To me, that sounds like a speed rusher. If any of you guys have been able to see much footage of him, I haven't yet. I'm going to dive into it more. But it sounds like to me he might be more of a speed rusher, but maybe he has some power in him too. 6'2", 250, that's good size. He went to UCLA, so it looks like he stayed in California, and he ended up getting a first-round pick number 26 in the NFL. He was first-team All Pac-12 in his college. I think he left his junior season if he's that young. But like I said, in his total career, 76 tackles, 17.5 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, and fumble recovery. Like I said, he hasn't played much this year because he's been dealing with injury. So if you take that off, he has 1 sack and a few tackles this year. That's 16.5 sacks and around 70 tackles in his first 2 seasons. That's pretty impressive, man. I saw some people were saying, like, Falcon fans, like, oh, he was a bust. Oh, he wasn't doing this. That doesn't look like a bust to me. Especially a guy that hasn't played every single game, every single snap. There's no way that's a bust for me. So, let's go ahead. Yeah, he's a California guy. He was invited to the NFL Combine as an outside linebacker. So keep that in mind. In his combine, he was an outside linebacker, but I guess he put on some weight, put on some muscle, and moved him down to the defensive end. So keep that in mind. You might see this guy in some linebacking sets standing up, dropping back in zone. If that's the deal, that's really going to help this defense because we need guys that are like that. So unlike Dunlap, where you more see him just go pass rush and, jump up, deflect, which he was one of the best in the league is deflecting, batting down balls. This guy might be able to step back in coverage sometimes, and, it sounds like that's what he's going to be able to do. So, very, very interesting. Let me know what you guys think. I mean, this is huge for the Bengals. I'm super excited. Anytime the Bengals are just a little bit aggressive, it's so interesting because growing up, not seeing them make any moves in free agency, trading, claiming this means the Bengals are looking towards the future. And to be honest, I don't know how we got him because there was definitely other teams, the Tennessee Titans, who we just beat, desperately need a pass rush. And they have a better record than us. And there's a million other teams that were probably trying to get the hands on this guy. I don't know how Zach Taylor and the Bengals front office got there first. Very impressive, though. It's very, very impressive, to be quite honest. Yes, Big Ben is on the COVID list, but he didn't test positive for COVID. He was just he was around a teammate that was, so he won't be practicing. I believe he has to sit out 5 days, so I think his first day he could practice is Friday or Saturday. We'll get into the Steelers game in my next stream at 7 o'clock. I'm doing another stream at 7 o'clock tonight about the Bengals breakdown of the first half of the season. Drake Berry said, I saw when he was drafted in his interview, he said he was made the promise to his grandpa he would go D1 and would go to the NFL right before she passed, or right before. Oh, that sucks. That sucks, right before he passed away. It's a cool story, though. That's a great story. Is the COVID rules that they must wait 7 days to play once going to a different team? I'm not too sure. I would assume he would see at least a little bit of snaps against Pittsburgh. You know, it definitely helps that Sam Hubbard's back in there, so we don't have to throw him in there. We could see a little bit of him on the field. We'll have to see what they rule. Definitely next week. I mean, this guy's playing for a contract this season, so he's going to try to get on the field as soon as possible. So if we don't see him thrown in there against the Steelers this week, expect him next week. But for me, I definitely think we'll see him because look what happened with Quentin Spain. Same thing. We picked up Quentin Spain after a team dropped him, and within 3 or 4 days, he didn't start, but he played 3.5 quarters and was phenomenal. Didn't give up a sack, was pancaking guys. The offensive lines looked the best it's looked all season, and Quentin Spain was the man, came in there and did it. So it doesn't give me any reason to think, the Bengals won't play him. We definitely should. He definitely should see some reps and see that his position, is outside linebacker as well. That's very exciting that we have a guy with a little bit of speed in there and who could drop back in coverage as well. Because Carl Lawson definitely more just a pass rush guy. Sam Hubbard, if we get a guy that can drop back in coverage like that, that's very interesting, and that's a big tool and a power move the Bengals could use. The first subscriber of the night, El Nano. I hope I'm saying that right. Thank you so much for joining the DCTV family. If you want to be like that, man, go ahead and hit that subscribe button on Facebook or hit that follow and like, or hit that subscribe button on YouTube. If you're on Facebook, hit that follow and like button and join the DCTV family and WHODEY Nation. If Quentin Spain played a few days after he was picked up, we should have him in. Exactly. Now, like I said, I don't think he'll start. We get Hubbard back. We get Lawson. He's continuing playing great. So I think those two guys will start. But I think, with this defense we've seen this season, no matter how good you are, no matter the name on the back of your jersey, Geno Atkins, Carlos Dunlap, you're going to play rotational. And it seems like that's kind of the defense we've stuck to so far this season. So I wouldn't be surprised if this guy gets rotated in there for a couple of snaps. Now, like I said, he's been hurt this season. He's only played 4 games. He's had 1 sack and 5 solo tackles. Like I said, he's been hurt. He hasn't been 100%. And you see guys who aren't happy with their team. They don't play the best as possible. Look what happened with Carlos Dunlap, but then he goes to the Seahawks, and he already has a sack. So, but in his career, he's been fantastic. So I'm really, really, really excited. Will Tack be a good fit for the Bengals? I'm very curious about the team chemistry. Well, I know that he is a weapon we'll be able to use because, like I said, most of our ends are just pass rushing guys. They're not too great in zone. They're not the quickest. And it seems like this guy, he's had some experience in college and high school as linebacking, even in the NFL. So I think if we, hashtag fire Lou, our defensive coordinator, Lou, if he can somehow use this guy the right way, heck yeah, I think he can be a huge weapon for the Bengals for the rest of the season and possibly the future if we continue with this guy, which I hope we will. Obviously if he produces, I hope we continue with him. You guys got to keep in mind, we got to re-sign Carl Lawson, I believe, this offseason. So, that's going to be a good chunk of change. A couple other guys, AJ Green, if you bring him back. So, depending on how he plays, hopefully we could bring him back again if he produces. We'll just have to see. We'll have to play out and see how he plays. And like I said, this is a guy who has a lot of upside, and he's going to be trying to play this best because, like I said, he's playing for money. Every time you see a guy in his rookie, on his, last year of his contract, you usually see that's one of the best seasons in their career because they want to cash out. So, to answer your question, do I think he could be a good fit? If we utilize him correctly, I think he could be a great fit. If the team chemistry question, I'm not too sure because I don't know his personality. I'm going to be quite honest. I'm not going to sit here and like, oh, yeah, I talked to the guy. I know him. I don't, so I don't know his personality. We'll have to see how that rolls out. I'm sure he's going to have a better personality than Carlos Dunlap did on his last few weeks as a Bengal. So hopefully he has good team chemistry. Obviously, it didn't work in Atlanta, but a lot of times you see guys like this, they need a change of scenery. They go to a new team, and they're on board. Look at Carlos Dunlap. Have you seen what he's been saying with the Seattle Seahawks? It's like a whole new man, a whole new life. That's all he's saying on social media. So I don't know about the team chemistry question. We'll just have to see how it plays out. I would hope so. Hopefully he can buy in just like everybody else so far in the Bengals locker room. Hopefully he can buy into Zach Taylor's system. Do we know who got COVID yet on our team? I believe it was a backup offensive lineman, and I believe it was Trey Waynes who hasn't even been playing, or maybe a Mackenzie Alexander. But I know they're cleared and we're ready to go. I know the Steelers have, I think, 1 or 2 people, and then a couple other people like Big Ben Roethlisberger, and a couple other people who don't have it or haven't tested positive, but have to quarantine for 5 days so they don't spread it, just in case they do have it. So the Steelers are gonna, they're on a very, very short week to prepare for us. What are your thoughts on the Dolphins? The Dolphins have a fantastic defense, a very underrated defense, and Tua Tagovailoa, they kind of kept it easy with them so far. Unlike Herbert and Burrow, they just said, all right, here's the ball, here's our offense, you go do you, and you go ball out. And that's exactly what both of them's done. Tua, they're kind of still babysitting him into the system. Easy run it down their throat, then open up some play action, So I think I'm not sold on Tua yet. Now, hopefully, I don't want guys to be busts because I never want our guys to be bust. So I think we got to see more out of Tua. I think definitely goes Burrow, Herbert, and Tua as of right now. I got to see more of them. And you guys will too, because we play the Dolphins in the next few weeks. Tua versus Burrow is going to be a very hyped up game. I'm really excited. It's going to be a fun one to watch. Diehard Bengals fan said we could line him up at defensive end and have him drop back into coverage. Yeah, that's definitely what I'm saying. We need a guy that, having a guy that can go back there and we could utilize in coverage and other weapons like that. I think it's huge for us because we really don't have anybody like that right now. So that's why I said if we utilize him correctly, I think Tack could be a huge weapon on our defense for, years to come. Ladarius McDaniel said, "What's up, DC? I feel like we are going to beat the Steelers Sunday." Hey, man, I'm hoping that too, man. We're pretty lucky right now. We got a good chance to beat them. Like I said, they, Big Ben and a couple other guys are coming off injuries. A lot of them on the COVID list, so they can't practice this entire week besides Friday or Saturday. So the odds, are definitely stacked against them for practice and preparing for this week. So I think, we just got to upset it against the Titans, who were a 5-win team. So we'll have to see what we can do against the Steelers. And for us, healthy, a lot of guys are coming back. Jonah Williams and a lot of guys are coming back. Hopefully Mixon, I believe he was not practicing today, but I'm pretty sure he was like warming up. So hopefully Mixon's a go. And yeah, we'll have to see the Steelers game, man. That's going to be a fun one to watch. 4:25. I will be live streaming it live from 3:25 to the end of the game, like 4 to 5 hours. I will be live on YouTube, on Facebook, doing a play-by-play for that entire game. So don't miss out. If you don't, just in case you don't forget, hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell, hit the like button on YouTube. If you're on Facebook, hit the follow and like button. And guys, like I said, I'm going to end this stream before 7 o'clock because at 7 o'clock, I'm going to another stream, and that stream is going to be about the Bengals prediction and preview video. So as soon as you guys leave this video or leave this live stream, go hop onto the next one because I'm going to be live again at 7. I just want to put news out there about the McKinley situation. How this is big news for us. For us Bengals fans and WHODEY Nation, this is big news. Yes, Stuart, I got you. You guys are welcome for this one, but hey, this next stream's at least going to be an hour or two, so get excited for this next one. 5 players with COVID. Check CBS Bengals injury list. They mentioned players with COVID out on Sunday. Yeah, I know it's not all of them have COVID, though. I know a lot of them either had it and they don't have it anymore, or they were a high possibility of getting COVID, so I'm not too worried. I like Zach is showing that he's waiting to do that. what he's wanting to do to make the team younger and not really going after all the vets. And I don't mind if he brings in a couple vets because we are one of the youngest teams in the NFL right now, if not the youngest. So, we're going to need a couple guys. But the fact that he's flipping some of the older guys for some younger guys, that's what you got to do to, go towards the future. Next year and a few years on the road, Carlos Dunlap wouldn't do much for us because he's already aging and he's not the same player he once was. This guy's 25. These next 5 years are his prime. So, Joe Burrow is 24. The fact that we're getting guys around his age that are young, and it's building that locker room up. And I'm really liking what Zach Taylor's doing right now. Panthers make wild card spot? I don't know. They got to win the big ones. And I think McCaffrey's hurt again is the last time I saw. So you guys need McCaffrey back. Teddy B has been pretty good. I think he's doing pretty well. I think you guys need McCaffrey to even have a shot. Even if you do make the playoffs, I think you need McCaffrey to win a game. Expanded playoffs to 16 teams has been approved for the season. I saw that, Drake, so that's another thing to keep your eye on. So we'll see. More teams are going to make the playoffs, which is, I think, definitely what the NFL needed. Definitely what the NFL needed. Back-to-back upsets would be cool. That's right, Die Hard. Another upset would, oh, man. I think the Bengals fans, we already have a lot of confidence coming off that upset. If we get back-to-back against the Steelers, oh, my gosh. And we give them their first loss of the season. Yo, I would be on top. Dude, that stream, I would be floating, man. I'd be so much joy, right? I would have so much joy. Andrew Fuller said W. That's right, Andrew. A big, big W for the Cincinnati Bengals. Trey Hopkins and Michael Jordan are back next week. A bunch of Bengals are, as long as those, which are huge. Chances on Raiders making playoffs. I think they got to get They got to go on a little bit of a win streak, but I mean, they were the one team that beat the Chiefs, I believe, this year. And they have a couple good wins. They have guys that can make plays. So I think if Derek Carr, can limit the mistakes, I think they have a good shot. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna give my last thoughts on this. So Takkarist McKinley, if I'm pronouncing that wrong, I really apologize. I know a lot of people just call him Tak McKinley. My final thoughts on him: a great move by the Cincinnati Bengals, and this is a move that has, what am I trying to say? It's a great move that has a low kickback or low fireback. And what I mean by that, if it doesn't work out, all we do is release or cut him and we won't lose out on that much money. So it has a high ceiling, getting a first-round pick that has phenomenal stats in his first 2 seasons, and a very, a low risk. If it doesn't work out, we just let him walk, or we walk or cut him. Not that big of a deal. We just cut our ties, and that's it. Bengals, this isn't a risky move by all means. This is a low-risk move with high reward. There it is. That's what I was looking for. Low-risk, high-reward type of move, and I love it by the Cincinnati Bengals. This is the best. I've talked about the Cincinnati Bengals front office in a long time, so keep doing you, Cincinnati. But I'm going to go ahead and wrap this stream up, guys. But if you haven't already, go click on my other stream, Cincinnati Bengals Breakdown 2020. I'm going over all stats, all players' information. I'm grading every single player at 7 o'clock, so in a couple minutes. But I'm going to end this one. Go back on the next one. I'm going to be live on YouTube and Facebook as well. Thank you, WHODEY Nation. Please leave a like on this video so more Bengals fans can see it. Leave a like, hit the subscribe button, and I'll be live again at 7 o'clock within the next few minutes. So I'll see you guys there. WHODEY. I'm going to let it catch up. All right, I'll see you at 7. Stuart WHODEY